Good morning out there. Looks like people are still hopping on. We do have the learning studio set up for anyone who is wanting to watch over here. Usually I have a couple people in there. Welcome everyone. I do have Jim in the office with me over here. So he is going to assist us with the maintenance portion of this. And I'm excited to share, of course, not only our agenda, but we have some other fun stuff to share on the screen today too. So let me go ahead and get into our agenda for you. I did send this out last minute. I think something was even added after that. So follow along with me. I believe you have most of it if you're looking at home as well. I'm just trying to get something situated here on the screen. Okay, so at home we have, it looks like 24 households and whoever is in the learning studio. So that's good. Thank you all for coming. Reminder that you do have the Q&A, which we will utilize for any questions out there, and we'll be sure to answer everything we can. We will enjoy a poll later again, because we love those polls. So we will go ahead and dive in to the activities portion. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit for you here. Okay, great. So it is March Madness, right? So we have a lot going on here. We enjoyed some fun things already this week, some interesting stuff, and that will continue through March with lots of different groups coming in and folks coming in to talk to us. So on Monday, March 7th, this Monday, we have some students from Dexter High School coming in, and they are band members that are putting on some ensemble type concerts for us. So there will be some small group performances, lots of different instruments, some really neat kids that I was able to meet. So we're excited to have them here. The start time for that, I didn't include that, is 6 p.m. So they'll be here at 6 p.m. Monday, March 7th. And they will perform in the living room. So we'll have that set up as we typically do for something like that. We'll be excited to see them. March 10th, we have the Stockbridge Teen Center presentation. So our very own John Davidson in maintenance, along with his wife, Bonnie, will be here to tell us a little bit more about everything they went through in order to get the Teen Center up and running in Stockbridge. And I will tell you, there is a lot more than you would ever think. Hopefully you were able to watch the slideshow that was sent out a number of weeks ago, just kind of documenting all of the progress and their final product. So it was really inspiring to see that, and so much so that we thought it would be neat to come in and have Bonnie come in and tell us a little bit more. So we're excited about that. That's March 10th, which means it's Thursday at 3:30 p.m. And I think they'll probably show that slideshow again too if you missed it. So come on in, it'll be neat to hear about that. March 11th, we will enjoy some St. Patrick's Day fun. We have the O. Kennedy Irish dancers coming in. So we are excited about this because I actually had this set up for March 2020, but we had to cancel that for the past 2 years. So we are excited. I was finally able to reconnect with them, and they are kind of just ramping up with performances again. So it was really great timing. They are very excited to come here. I did post a flyer that has some pictures of them, which was really neat to see. So I am told there will be 15 of them. We will be set up in the learning studio as they need carpet. So they do smaller group type dances too. So they shared that they think it's just fine to fit in the learning studio. So we are excited about that. That is March 11th. So next Friday, 6:30 p.m. Come and join us after dinner. Moving through to mid-March, it will be here before we know it. On March 16th, we're excited to have our resident Ralph Lang give us a presentation on the making of a United States Air Force pilot. So Ralph went through this presentation with me a little bit and kind of gave me some sneak peeks and some pictures, and I think you will really enjoy this presentation. He has done it at a number of places, from his church to a local Rotary. So he is all ready to go, and we are so excited for that. That will be March 16th. I believe that is a 3:30 start time as well. And thank you, Ralph, for your willingness to do that. I think a lot of people will be interested in that. On March 17th, we missed our hymn sing group last month in February due to weather. So we are crossing our fingers to make sure that we can have him sing this month at our normal time, 4 p.m. on March 17th. And then that cruises me right into just kind of a general fitness and swim update. So as it stands right now, Cynthia is our Tuesday, Thursday go-to gal. The way we are working it right now is Tuesdays, she'll be here in person, and then Thursdays, she will do virtual. So we were kind of taking this month to assess people's comfort level in exercising in person without masks. Now that is a factor to consider. So we're excited about that, to see kind of how many people come on Tuesdays in person versus folks that want to remain virtual. And then Thursdays will be virtual. And then from April, we will see what happens, whether that means Tuesday and Thursday will be in person, or whether that means we will be outside, kind of up in the air, depending on what we see this month. So we will be looking at those numbers and attendees. And as you all know, Cynthia is no longer teaching our swim class. So we did go ahead and put out some materials to hopefully recruit for a swim instructor. So we had done this around before and did not get anyone that was qualified or interested at that time. I will tell you that I have heard from a couple people this time, and I am meeting with someone next week. So I, again, have my fingers crossed for that, so we can get a good instructor back in here. And just on the fitness topic with dumbbells, we realized we are missing some of our dumbbells in the gym. I could not tell you what size they are. But I know we have been loaning out items too, because we are doing all of these virtual classes, and some people needed like an exercise band or dumbbells. Just make sure you're keeping track of those items, because at some point we will ask for those to be returned. We couldn't recall if we loaned out dumbbells, so we are missing some. If you have them at home and are able to return them, if you are continuing to use them for virtual class, that's okay too. So that gets us through March. We are excited for spring and hopefully to do some more outdoor activities again and get back to some trips. So we are excited for our weather to break and consistently be nice for us. So that's activities. Reminder, you do have the Q&A for any questions, comments in there. I try to keep up on checking it. But I will cruise right on into our dining reminders. Firstly, we do have a dining update meeting coming. We waited until April so that we can have Chef Mark back and make sure that he's included in that. So it is currently scheduled for April 13th at 3 p.m. and you will see that reflected on your calendar. Cruising down, sorry, I'm getting some notifications on here. I'm making sure I'm not missing anything. Moving down the list here, just wanted to touch on guests. Someone, when we removed the masks a couple weeks ago, somebody basically said, oh, does that mean we can bring guests to the dining room? So yes, you can bring guests, of course, with your reservations, but you could have already been bringing guests. The mask did not affect that. So the dining room has been open for guests for a number of months now, and we encourage you to do that and utilize that for your guests. We love to see family members and friends start coming in here again. So hopefully people will start doing more of that. And again, you do need to make your reservations so that we are able to account for them staffing and food wise. Cruising down here to Chef Mark's return. So we are expecting Chef Mark to return this month. We are very excited. We are excited to have his leadership back in the kitchen. Something I did just want to clarify for folks is that this does not change that much for the back of the house happenings. So we still plan to help Tyler grow and support him in his role as sous chef and really foster him into a leadership position with our organization. I know a lot of you have been sharing how great of a job he's doing, and we agree, and we are still planning to have him continue with menu plans, as well as he is our main cook, chef behind the line with Jean. Both lunch and dinner service. So we're excited to just continue to foster his leadership here at the Cedars with, of course, Chef Mark's direction. There's a lot of behind the scenes things that Chef Mark does that we're just thrilled to have him coming back for, as well as his leadership and direction for all of the servers too. So a lot of excited people now that Chef Mark is returning. We do not have a 100% date, but we are told it is in March. So he will be ready to go. That does bring me down to just continued recruitment. As you've seen, you're getting used to a lot of these servers now, which is great. However, in our mind, we know that a lot of them are seniors. So we do not want to end up in the same position that we were in last year with a server shortage. We are recruiting right now, and we are requesting that they are able to work, I guess, what did we say? The 2022-2023 school year. So trying to get some younger folks in there so that they can get trained up by some of our folks that have been working here a little bit longer. So that is still happening. It's still recruiting. We have a couple in the pipeline that should be, well, we hope, coming in to get started here in the next month or so. And lastly, we do have a neighborhood dinner coming up that will be on St. Patrick's Day. So when dinner starts, you'll see Jackie and I coming around with the cart with our special St. Patrick's Day drinks for everyone. And I will be putting out the St. Patrick's Day neighborhood dinner flyer today. So you'll see that in your box, and then you will go and make your reservations or place your pickup orders online. So we do think we have that all figured out. I know there were some issues with the last neighborhood dinner with placing your to-go order. So we think we have figured that out, but we'll let you know if there are any glitches. So that should be fun. Your typical Irish meal there with your corned beef and, of course, a fish option as well. We've been listening to feedback that you want something other than salmon on a themed meal night. So you will see that reflected as an option too. Okay, I do not see anything in the Q&A. I am going to keep cruising around. Okay, I do have something in the Q&A. This was addressed. I don't remember if it was February or when it was addressed on our last meeting, but we did already discuss that Marissa is no longer with us at the Cedars of Dexter. So along with that, because the follow-up question I can only assume is, will we be rehiring? We will eventually be rehiring for that position or a similar position. Again, that is something we really want Mark to play a key role in. So we are waiting for his return, which, as you know, does affect lunch service. So stay tuned for updates on that. Okay. I think we are caught up here. Great. We are cruising on down to sales and marketing updates. So we do have an upcoming cottage. As many of you know, we have one cottage coming available, which you see workers in there probably almost daily. So you have been seeing people coming and going. We are working to get that cottage flipped because we do have a very strong wait list right now. So with that, we had a wait list event. Some of you saw us. in the learning studio, like not last week, the week before, I think. So we had a great turnout for that. People hadn't been with us in a big group like that in over 2 years. So it was really great to see some of those waitlist folks and get to know them a little bit better. And some of them are ready to go and waiting to hear from us, especially with how the housing market is right now. You'll have to excuse Jim for a minute. He's going to pick up a phone call here that I just handed him. Thank you, Jim. All right. So yes, people are waiting for us to call them and tell them that there's a cottage ready for them. And then additionally, we do have a March event. So it's actually just a virtual event. It's a speaker who is an author and talks about just healthy aging and tips to, having the best life you can live as an older adult. So he has a book as well. His name is Dr. Robert Landry. I actually highly recommend the book. I can't remember the title at this moment, but I'll put it in your notes because it's a great book too. And actually I have a copy, so maybe I can donate that to the library for folks if you were interested in that. Okay, we kind of cruised right through the marketing section, trying to wait for any little questions here. Could we please get the monthly calendar early? I would love that if you could. I would not commit to saying yes, because I can tell you up until the very last minute, sometimes there are changes. So from coordinating it with different folks that are coming in for presentations and what we have going on with guests coming in, especially now that we're talking about Adult Learners Institute and Cedar Chips groups, outside people that are coming in. I would love it if you could get the calendar earlier, but I am not able to give you a yes on that answer right now, being totally honest. I will say that in my 3 years as an activity director, this is very common in communities for you to get the calendar the day before or 2 days before. So bear with me on that. I understand. We do try to put in your sign-up sheets, things that are happening for the first week of the month. So that did happen in March. So be sure you are looking at the sign-up book, because we did that for March, because I understand. The other thing is, and game night was a big one of why we realized, oh, we better get those sign-up sheets in, because game night is typically your first Tuesday of the month. But that was a little bit different because of Fat Tuesday too. But we had Fat Tuesday in there, the Punchki Day. We had game night in there since, early February too. So I totally understand that. You want notice, make sure you have time to sign up. So we have been trying to make an effort, and just be sure that you're paying attention to the sign up book for those first week type things. And I can appreciate that. I totally understand. You guys have lives and things going on too. So bear with us. I will answer this question down the line here. So hold that thought. Okay. I think we're caught up for right now. I'm saving that question that's up there now. So I'm going down to director's update, where we can do our first poll. So topic of the poll is in-person Cedars Voices meetings versus virtual meetings. So, I'm kind of on the fence. I'm right in the middle there. I see the value in both options. From my point of view, a Zoom meeting runs very effectively and allows me the opportunity to share my screen, which I have shown many resources on these meetings that I feel are very valuable, that are not as valuable as printouts, nor do I want to print out that many items for people just because of paper. However, on the flip side, an in-person meeting provides you all an opportunity to get back together, It provides an opportunity for a lot more interaction between myself and all of the residents, as well as whether it's Jim or Jackie who is joining us. So there, of course, are a lot of benefits to being in person as well. As you think about this poll, which I will go ahead and put up right now, I will launch this. The other thing to note is that if we go back to in person, it will be in the learning studio. So I will not set up the main dining room. That really entails a lot of tear down and setup for myself, Jackie, as well as dining. And if we forget to set it back up, it's a really big impact. So I will have these meetings, if they are in person, in the learning studio, which will also allow me to share things on that TV screen. So that, you know, maybe that's a plus too. If we're in person, we're in the learning studio and I can still share things on the screen. So I am giving some time out there. Interesting. I love these polls. I really love these polls. Okay, we've got 66 participation rate out there. Looks like 10 more of you, 9 more of you need to answer. If you're in the learning studio right now, I will be asking you after this, of course. And when I send out the minutes too, I want as many people as possible to answer. So I will include this in the minutes when I send this out. So hopefully folks that could not be with us this morning can also answer this. Okay, we've got 80% participation out there. That's great. These are so fun. Oh, one more. I don't know what this looks like on your end, so I don't know how it, you know, looks for you to answer and where you have to do it. It looks like most people are figuring it out there. We have 26 out of 30 households that have answered, so that's great. And we're coming up on 2 minutes of the poll, so I'm going to call it. We're going to end the poll. So I think these, I can share them with you. Yes. Okay, I think you hopefully are seeing these now. And it looks like, ooh, a good question there too. All right, so in person, 23%, virtual, 35%, and 42% will attend either way. So that is a great piece of information there. Okay, sorry, I'm reading multiple comments too. So somebody says, you might consider alternating in-person and Zoom meetings. Well, that is maybe a great solution based on these results. And additionally, somebody in the chat here, can look in so many places, can see the advantage of both. This is somebody that's not with us 12 months out of the year, so the Zoom option is very important. Have you considered doing both? I have considered it. So we'll see. We will see. Great information, everyone. Thank you so much for your participation and your additional comments with that. That is very, very helpful. And then we'll give some other folks the opportunity to answer with the minutes, hopefully. And we will cruise on down here. T-shirts. Somebody asked here about the t-shirts because I think it was just yesterday I sent out the email. Hey, we're so excited about the new brand, and Human Resources is providing new shirts around June to not only our team members, but to our residents too. So this is a big undertaking to make sure we get shirts that actually fit you. And I asked you for your t-shirt sizes. What I neglected to tell you is that yes, they are unisex t-shirts. So there's not a men's style and a ladies style, which does impact your size choice. So yes, they are unisex. If you weren't sure about your size, I have some old t-shirts. They're new t-shirts, but I have some in the closet here that if you wanted to hold up the size to see if that would be right for you, I'd be happy to do that too. So be sure to get me your t-shirt size pretty quick. I'm trying to turn it in by Monday. I was given a tight deadline, so I'm trying to meet the deadline, but I'm sure they will understand if I'm a little late there. So good question there. Thank you for asking that. And then backing up, question out there, can you record a meeting? So I record all of the Zoom meetings and I send out the recording. So thank you out there, because that is a huge pro of Zoom that I forgot to include. So no matter what, you know, you get minutes, but you also get a recording to see exactly what happened too. So that's a really great point. And again, if you did if I did the both option, you know, or alternating, maybe you'd get some recording and some not. Thinking more about doing both, it's doable. It just wouldn't be as fluid for the Zoom attendees. That's what I would say, since, you know, it's hard to cater to both an in-person audience and a Zoom, but it's all doable. So thank you out there for the additional questions. That's great info. Okay, so I'm going to move on here to Brio Living Services, which hopefully most of you now know that is our new corporate identity. So we're excited about that. I had a lot of people in the learning studio with me on Tuesday, and we had some great back and forth about it. I wanted to share a comment that was made there that I just thought was so perfect. And it was Mr. Schubert. I asked him if I could say this. So he stood up and said, you know, I compare it to when my great-grandchildren were named, and they were named Bridger, Kai. Oh, it was another unique name. Shoot. So these unique names, Hudson, Forrest. And he said, it seems strange at first, but we will get used to it. So I really appreciated that comment, because that's so true. And you can identify with it, because Brio is this weird, unique name that you don't hear much, or you hear from some different companies that are older and you know, are in totally different industries. I thought that was a really neat comment, and I wanted to share that. I wanted to direct us to the landing page that we were discussing a little bit on Tuesday, because it has a lot of things that I think might answer some of your questions. So I think I have to stop sharing here for a moment and switch my share. Give me just a minute here as I figure out what I'm doing. Make sure I have the right screen. Perfect. Okay. All right. Hopefully out there, you are seeing a web page now that has the tree logo and all of this stuff. So I'm hoping that has worked. So this is where I was telling folks, this is your go-to place for anything that you want to know about this whole new brand and where did it come from. And so you have the 3 videos that were shown. So this is that historical video, that 2-minute video. You have just a little advertisement here on the right that was in the annual report. And over on the left, you have those other sneak peek videos that were put out. So the videos, they're just kind of fun to watch, or if you wanted to show someone else this main 2-minute video, I think it's helpful for people to see that. But where I would direct you is actually to this spot right here, questions about the rebrand. See our FAQ here. So you click here and we have an error. That's not good. Okay, so I will let them know about that and send out the FAQ because I do have it in a PDF format for you. So I think I lost where the website was now. I don't know what you're looking at anymore. So let me pause there. Okay, sorry about that. Always, that's a Zoom. Maybe the downfall is there's some technological difficulties there. So I'll send out that frequently asked questions sheet, but a couple things that are on it that I thought was really worthwhile. It's kind of more about, brio, the word, what does it mean? Why were we drawn to that word specifically? One thing that I know has come up is, I feel like we have lost the Methodist roots. And vice versa. I'm sure on the other side of the state, they're saying, I feel like we've lost maybe our Presbyterian roots or the Porter Hills name. So, I think this all came about because we came together 3 years ago, and we ended up with two very prominent names on two sides of the state. So all of us were very connected to these names. But what we were also connected to were the actual communities or the services that we were either providing or receiving. So one of the biggest questions on Tuesday was, do I still live at the Cedars of Dexter? And yes, of course, you live at the Cedars of Dexter. That has not changed. That will not change. And we felt like for team members and residents, that was the most important thing, that their current community or business line did not change, that it was a very minimal impact for team members and residents. In terms of those connections that we feel to, for instance, United Methodist Retirement Communities, we're connected to this religious aspect. That is another reason why it was very important for the board, for our strategic leaders to have our mission, vision, and guiding beliefs remain unchanged. So we continue to act with those at our forefront as team members, as residents. We believe in that mission and we believe in those guiding beliefs of, inclusivity and doing the right things for the right reasons. None of that has been lost. So on the Methodist topic specifically, nothing has changed with the organization's actual connection to, for instance, the United Methodist Association. So we are very much involved in that association. We have board members that serve. Steve Fedico, I believe, is still the board chair for one of our Methodist associations that we are a part of. So as Paul said, it seems strange. And it does. And it wasn't a name that blew me away from day one. It just wasn't. It grew on me just like the tree in the logo. So the logo we really like because it represents our strong roots to the history, strong roots to those faith-based values. And as you know, our branches, and we're all connected and all of that. So we really thought that tree logo represented a lot of that too. So on that landing page that we were just looking at is also just a little submission box. If you felt like questions were not answered on the FAQ that I put out for you, you can go and put a question in there that goes right to the marketing department. So I think most people that have submitted a question have heard right back from James Kelly or Steve Fedico. So that was really nice that they got quick responses. I just encourage you to look at everything and utilize those resources if you're trying to learn more. And again, I will put that out for you as well. Okay, I'm going back to our agenda. I don't know what I'm talking about next. Okay, hopefully now you are looking at that again. Okay, D, volunteers for a local Dexter initiative. So a lot of you might know who Dick Lundy is. If you are a Dexter native, he I think is still on the school board, is the longest school board member that's on the board. He is also on the Rio Living Services Board. So we have a lot of connections to Mr. Lundy here. He does live locally. He also happened to be the person that was bringing us a bunch of corn over the summer that we were enjoying, that Jerry and Mary were bringing in for us. So that's a neat connection too. He's very familiar with the Cedars. He's obviously very involved in the Dexter community. Something that he is working on with a group of people is there will be a millage coming up on the next election in August. And what he hopes to happen with this millage is that it goes through that funds can be used at former school spaces. So this could be a relocation of the senior center, as well as just a community space that could be used in old school buildings. So some of you may know that with the relocation of the Encore Theater comes an eventual relocation for the Dexter Senior Center. They have a home there for, I think, a limited period of time, but the Dexter Senior Center will need to relocate and will need space to continue to provide older adults in this area somewhere to have socialization, resources, meals. So it's very important. And from Mr. Lundy's perspective, something that has not been given enough attention in the Dexter community. And I know our residents, a lot of you feel lucky for all the things that we do here so that you don't have to go to a senior center to find any of that. So what Mr. Lundy is looking for is some community volunteers to help him with this initiative and help him spread the word around Dexter. So this is a Dexter specific initiative, and he is looking for folks from the Cedars, not to represent just the Cedars, but to represent an older adult in the Dexter community. So if anyone is interested out there in helping with this initiative, it's a short-term commitment unless you want it to be beyond that, but it essentially is from now until that election in August. And so they will see where it goes from there. It's a very important thing here in Dexter, and I know maybe a lot of people here don't really feel that impact since we're so busy here at the Cedars, but if anyone is interested in helping with that, please let me know. I've reached out to a few of you individually, and the other reality is that our residents here are involved in so many things already. So he did share that it's a minimal commitment. It will consist of probably weekly meetings up until that August timeline. So let me know if you are interested. The other big thing on my plate, as well as Jim's plate, and I'm really everyone's, Anne Marie's, Chef Mark's, is just our budget. So that's what is taking up a bulk of my time. I have 3 budget meetings today. So we essentially submit our version of the budget within the next week. So you will see us. We are working hard on that with everyone together. It's a very collaborative effort. So that's neat. Okay, we have some questions here. That's the end of the director's update. So you could take a minute and type in any questions you have, and I will back up to a couple of questions here that are in the Q&A. Dining question: how far in advance do we have to notify that we have guests? I think is that question. So we recommend at least 24 hours if it's a group less than 4. If you have more than 4 people, we need more notice for that. It may even mean that we need additional staff. So if you have more than 4 people, we need at least 48 hours. If you know sooner than that, that's great. So just let us know. And if it's not something, because at a certain point, you can't go over the amount of people online, please do not hesitate to email us if you're trying to make a reservation for a larger party. And you can do that Cedars Dining at, now it's mybrio.org, but it will, if you use your email that you have been using, cedarsdining@umrc.com, that will go to it as well, since it is all forwarding to the same place. If you have a larger party, just be sure to reach out to us via email or phone. Good question out there. And I think that person named brunch specifically, that goes for all meals. So at any meal, you know, just make sure we have 24 to 48 hour notice, depending on the party size. Good question. Okay, I think I get to take a break here because Jim is going to come on. I will switch spots here.
All right, good morning again, everyone. What I was thinking of doing with the question and answer section, this part is something that I feel comfortable with Natalie handling after I bring up the updates on the maintenance side of things. So any questions that you have, we'll address those after I'm finished with bringing everybody up to date. So the first portion of this update is the pool boiler. There's a little story behind this situation. A few months ago, we had word that the pool temperature was rising, and in the morning it was almost as high, if not higher, than the spa. And what we have determined with that was with our plumber coming in and trying to figure out what was going on with this strange situation, he found that the manufacturer of the boilers wanted us to put an upgrade in the control panel. Well, with older equipment, when you put an upgrade in the control panel, other things have to be upgraded as well. So along this line of figuring out what we're going to do, we have to upgrade our control panels on the temperature gauges for the pool, the spa, and for the outside sidewalk melt coming into the entrance of the clubhouse. So we are in the process of getting that all taken care of. And of course, it is a little bit delayed just with everything out there. We're facing the same situation with our plumber. So hopefully this month we'll start that project and have that taken care of. I don't see any issues with closing down the pool at this time. If we have to, I'll let everybody know at that moment, but I think we're going to be okay. Going on to the next portion is the cooling tower. Now, this is something that I've been talking with Natalie for probably a year or so, that the cooling tower, we depend on that so much with our whole system. And those larger motors in there, they're original, and they really think we need to replace those, have those rebuilt and put those on the side as a backup, just in case in the future we do have a situation that it won't be a delayed problem. Knowing what we're going through now, I don't want to have that an issue in the future. So we are working on getting our vendor complete refrigeration to come out, put in some new motors for us, a new pump for us, so that we're ready to go here as the temperatures rise and we have to depend on the cooling of the clubhouse. So we are working on that. Hopefully that doesn't take too long as well. We have a project that we're also been talking about for a while, and I believe everybody is aware of the damages that has been occurring from the mowing company with their weed whacking. They're going around, the siding is being tore up, and we tried taking out some of the grass and peeling it off with the weeds, and then so you have dirt now exposed, and that doesn't look very well. And maybe they're going too far into the grass. Now we have larger dirt marks on the side of the cottages, and it doesn't look really well. So we've come up with a plan. We've been working with the main campus and what they're doing over there. And what we decided to do is to put a rock edge along the sides of those cottages that are exposed. And it's probably going to go out maybe about 16 inches or so, somewhere in that range. It's going to be it's a river rock type stone, and it will have an aluminum border on the outside to keep that from moving into the lawn. Once we have that work completed, John and I will go out through the community, assess what siding that needs to be replaced, and take care of it at that time. This way, we can have all that damage repaired. And it's been going on for such a long time that now it's it's so unsightly that I'm just chomping at the bit to get that replaced. So we're looking at, if the weather holds up, we're looking at this later March for that project to start. And hopefully we don't have any issues with that as well. Moving on to the last issue here is power washing and windows. We are just now starting to finalize the this year's power washing for the cottages, the clubhouse, cleaning of the inside and outside of the windows and the screens. I think the next few days we'll have that date sort of nailed down, and we'll send out a memo on when that project's going to be taking place. And I'm thinking March, if the weather holds up just like last year. We're going to they want us to be the first ones of the year because we're such a large property. They do CRC as well, so they'll let us know when we're going to be looking forward to having them go out there. And of course, we'll give you as much as an update for that, so we can get things moved out of the windows when they come inside and take care of those cleaning for you. And as well, the lawn care and the vendors, they're all going to be the same as last year. So you will start to expect to see AK to come out, Magic growers to start doing their thing, cleaning the beds and getting those prepared for the new landscaping mulch, and as well as the fertilizer company, and they will be coming out this year. And I've added a couple things to their plate. Last fall, we had an increased amount of damage on the lawn because of the skunks, and I think opossums were going in there tearing up the lawns trying to look for grubs. So I've added a new application this summer. They're going to come out and put that down, so that'll pretty much hopefully eliminate a lot of that grass damage we've seen last year. So we'll keep you posted on those things, and any other grass repairs that we're going to be doing. We'll figure that out here in the next few weeks. I expect the grass is going to start to grow in here if the weather, as we're looking at 60 degrees possibly this weekend. That's going to really make that grass begin to come alive again. So pretty much that's about what I have all for the maintenance side of things. And I just want to end with this. I really appreciate you having patience with us this last upgrade when we did those CO alarms. We had, with new technology, it's never as easy as somebody tells you. So we tried to go through and have that done in a timely fashion, but that really didn't work out as well as we thought. So we did end up completing all those pretty quickly towards the end. But again, I like to really thank everybody for having patience with us during that upgrade, and that in the future we'll be letting you know, and these new technologies are going to be coming on board too for the cottages, and we'll give you an update on how that's going to be coming along. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Natalie.
Thank you, Jim. Right. Perfect. Lots of information there. Okay, did want to address one question that came through. The rock border and aluminum strip sound like a tripping hazard. Please clarify the design. Well, there's not a ton of reasons to be walking around your cottage that close to the cottage. So it seems like an easily avoidable tripping hazard if it is a tripping hazard. I don't know that I can answer how high up the aluminum is.
Not very high.
Okay.
The angle of the, I don't know if everybody can hear me, but
yeah,
the angle of that that ditch, that little strip that's going to be taken out and put with rock, I mean, it's going to be on a slope a little bit, and that aluminum trim is only just enough to keep those rocks in the bed that they're going to be making. So it's not going to be raised. And if it does come up, John and I will go around and we'll make sure that it's pushed back down in this place. So I don't see that happening if until like if we get a heavy frost next year, then we'll definitely have to address that. But I think for the summer months and whatnot, we'll be okay.
Okay. Yes, and if we find that is not the case and it is a hazard, we will certainly make adjustments, but it does seem like a pretty easily avoidable hazard. Okay, good question there. I will jump back to some questions now before I get into the other section, because we do have some questions here. Dining related question. Are there any days for guests that are easier for dining services? A very difficult question to answer, because trends of when we are busyness seem to also change by season, for instance. So right now, Saturdays seem to be the least busy days. But you know, it also goes along with our staffing and when is the staff available that particular month and do they have different days off? So I wouldn't say that overall there are easier days for guests. It's more so as long as we have enough notice, we can adjust. So I appreciate that question. Thank you. Not so much, and it could change over time. So right now, maybe Saturday would be an easier day. However, every Saturday is different because 2 people might need the day off or something like that. So not really is the answer to that one. Another question here, is the reservation policy permanent or will you open up the dining room as it was before? To answer that, I do not see the policy changing anytime soon based on our staffing levels and the success and the flow of service that it brings. So permanent is a strong word, but I don't see it changing anytime soon. And we can certainly talk about that more at dining update as well. I'm peeking into the chat here. Okay, we are caught up there. So actually, I forgot something in my area I was supposed to update you on. So Gordon Hall, our friends next door, they are doing what is called a controlled burn along the outside of the detention pond that is on their property. So I don't know a date. I think it is sometime in March. So you will receive an actual communication just letting you know any more information I can share, but did just want to put that out there as I believe it is happening in March. So especially some of you down there closer, I'm sure will notice it that day. I don't think there's anything differently you would have to do that day, but certainly something for you to be aware of. So you'll see something specific about that. Okay, checking back in here. Okay. So let me go on down here to the other section. So firstly, I have a CRT little update here from Paul and Connie, and Paul was trying to join us so that he could share the update, but was not able to due to many doctor's appointments and all the things they have going on. So I hope everyone knows what CRT is right now, but there could be some new folks that do not. So Care Response Team is what CRT stands for. It is a resident ran group of volunteers that essentially do helpful things to look out for one another. So the volunteers of CRT could do something like, oh, so-and-so is sick right now, and I'm going to deliver their meal to them. Or this person just had a surgery and needs their medications picked up. I'm going to pick up their medications and bring it to them. Or drive to a doctor's appointment, or walk a dog, or feed the cats while they're out of town. So a CRT volunteer signs up to assist with certain things, and you pick which things you want to assist with. So the CRT consists of those volunteers, but it also consists of a small group of leadership. So resident involved leaders that work behind the scenes to make sure the volunteer lists are correct, recruiting new volunteers, all those kinds of things. So Paul and Connie have head up this group for 12 years here at the Cedars. They have done an incredible job in helping people as well as helping coordinate anything that people need temporary assistance with. It is an amazing volunteer group that is here at the Cedars, and they have put a lot of work into this as well as many other folks. Paul and Connie are at a point where they will be stepping down from the leadership role of CRT. So they're going to be working on a few things in the next couple of weeks, putting out some information so that people know what this is. but also they are looking for their replacements. So we're hoping that someone is able to take on this role and kind of head it up with the other leaders in CRT. So that good people to talk to would definitely be Paul and Connie initially, and some other big helpers have been the Howards as well, Dave and Marianne Howard. You could get some inside scoop from them as well. It's a very important group here too. So we cannot thank Paul and Connie enough for all of the work that they have put in. And I am sure we will find somebody great to pass the torch to. Okay, if you have any questions on that, you'll see more stuff about that in your cubbies. And then, yes, you could always ask the Schuberts as well. And thank you so much for everything you have done for that, Paul and Connie. Okay, I'm going to hopefully not mess up a screen share again because I have something else to share on the screen. 3 screens here, if you all know what I'm working with over here. Okay, something great coming up this weekend, actually. This Sunday is a Dexter Community Orchestra concert. Thank you, Daryl, for sharing this with us to make sure we get the word out, and a beautiful flyer at that. So Sunday, March 6th, these concerts are always held at Dexter High School, the auditorium there. It's at 4 p.m. Whenever they do these concerts, they're free. So they're really, really great opportunity to see these talents and just go for free too. So this flyer is also on the bulletin board for you to get more info. They have their website and everything on there. So it's going to be a great concert, as they always are. And I know the Albrights are typically attendees for those, and I think are more deeply involved than that too. So if you had any questions, they'd be good people to ask. Let me pause that screen share, because I think that leads me to my last topic, which is that flyer you will see hanging on some very beautiful bulletin boards. So I had my lovely volunteer, Felicia, suggest that we kind of fix those bulletin boards up. So these are the ones by the drinking fountain here in the clubhouse. So I know Felicia did not want me to toot her horn so much, but I did take a nice picture because Felicia really fixed up these bulletin boards for us so that you can come and look at the community bulletin board and really easily be able to see what is going on. So we have different sections. This whole board above the drinking fountain is basically all music. So you can kind of direct your way there if you're looking for something music related. But then on the right of the main bulletin board are things that we kind of always have up here. So City of Dexter events, Gordon Hall events, library newsletter. You can see hanging down at the bottom is adult learner stuff, elder-wise programs, and then we still have a large space for any miscellaneous things. So Felicia not only put a lot of thought into this, but then also a lot of work. She did all of this. So this is not, I cannot take any credit for this. The only person that gets more credit is Jim for hanging up the other bulletin board and repositioning the other board. So thank you, of course, to Jim too. But big thank you to Felicia in helping us organize that. And we appreciate it so much. I think a lot of residents will find it a lot more user-friendly. Okay, so now is really our anything at all time. I did have a last minute request again from the Albrights in that they are looking to borrow, if anyone has an air mattress, they are needing to borrow an air mattress towards the end of the month, I believe it was. That a call out like that is a perfect kind of thing that can go on those community bulletin boards too. So outside of this, if you all had something like that, oh, I need to get a message out to the residents. If you're not as comfortable with email, you could always post something on that bulletin board too. So if anyone has an air mattress and can help out the Albrights, you can contact them. I'm trying to jot down our attendees here because I did not get those earlier. So it's a good time to put in any questions you have. If you have any at all, I know we have covered a lot. I will end with, of course, a personal picture as I tend to round out our meetings with. And Zoom is also pretty cool because we have people that are not at the Cedars. As you heard, one of those questions or one of the comments was from some snowbirds. So we do have the Hoxies on here. We do have the Wittens on here. So people are enjoying very different weather than us right now, whether it's in Arizona or Florida, or I can't remember where everyone is, but okay. I'm giving everybody just a minute if we had any last minute questions. I do know we have people in the learning studio. I peeked out when Jim was talking. There was at least 4 people in there, I think. So thank you for coming that way as well. It looks like we are caught up here on our questions. So this will be recorded, as you heard earlier. I record it, I put it on YouTube and send out the link for you. So hopefully that's helpful to you all. And then we do paper minutes as well, written minutes for those that prefer that. Okay, if there are no questions, I will share one more photo. Again, a personal one. Some of you know that I was able to get out to Florida for a very brief trip to see my grandpa. So hoping you can see the photo here. This is my grandpa. He's 92 years old. He lives in Fort Myers, Florida. Recently had some pretty challenging health scares around Christmas. Was hospitalized for about 3 weeks and has had a rough recovery, but he is looking wonderful now and doing wonderful and is back on the golf course 2 to 3 times a week, which is absolutely his most favorite, most important thing for him to do. So Cameron went along to Florida, my 5-year-old son, and it was really neat that they were able to have some one-on-one time to spend. Can only imagine how a 5-year-old would tire out a 92-year-old because Cameron has endless questions for him, which was pretty funny to listen to. But it was neat for them to have kind of that one-on-one time because as we, get together, it's more of a large family setting. So it's a lot different when you just get to have that small group aspect. So we had a wonderful time in Florida. My grandpa's doing well. Cameron had a great time and my mom was with us as well. So it was a great time. Many of you asked how that went. So I did just want to share that. Okay, at a certain point, we had 30 households on here. I'm sure I missed somebody on our attendees list, so I apologize if that was the case. But thank you all for being here this morning, and thank you, Jim, for joining us. And we will continue with those poll results after we send out the minutes too, to see what next month brings as our format. All right, thank you all. Have a wonderful Friday.